The next story, there's talks of the team who did Logan.
The team who did Logan, the Wolverine movie from, was it last year or was it this year?
This past year.
It was very recent.
Yeah.
They are looking at doing a Laura spinoff, and it says finding the drama in Wolverine's goodbye. Laura was the character X-23 from the comics who replaced Wolverine in the comics up until, well, she still is Wolverine right now, but we have seen the return of Logan in the comics very recently.
Mhm.
And her character survives, whereas Hugh Jackman's version of Logan doesn't. So they have an intent now of doing a spin-off film with her character and kind of being the continuation of maybe Logan's themes, Wolverine's themes, which is not with the X-Men. And his standalone movies have been all over the map. If you go back to X-Men Origins Wolverine, don't. And then if you go to the Wolverine movie, maybe you don't do that one either. If you just go to Logan, well, Logan's going to kind of rely on you seeing all the crap that came before it, honestly.
Yeah.
But it was a much better take on everything.
Yeah, here's honestly what I would say with Logan. You have a movie, you have an X-Men movie, you have a Wolverine movie that it is a Logan who has seen a bunch of shit. Has everything, all the other previous X-Men movies has happened to him.
Yeah, I would be weary too.
Yeah,
I feel like that from watching it.
Yeah, he is weary, but I personally loved Logan. I loved the tone. I am a little bit surprised because I bought it in 4K. I have not seen the 4K copy yet, or the Logan Noir where they did the whole thing in black and white. And then with this, I loved the Laura Kinney character played by Daphne Keane. And one of the things that I think is really interesting is you have one of the creators of X-23, Craig Kyle, who he created Laura for the 2003 animated TV series X-Men Evolution, which I loved when I was 14. He is working on the script with Mangold, the director of the movie, and also worked on a little project you might have heard about coming out next week called Thor Ragnarok. Don't know if it's going to be a big hit or not.
But we really don't know.
And so I look at this, and it's a lot of the stuff for the X-Men's side is that I would echo a lot of the things that we had with the DC side. And that's Fox has to look at the characters that they have and figure out what type of movie is gonna be good. Because right now, honestly, what I would picture with a Laura movie, whether it's called Laura or X-23 or whatever it is, I would picture be a Generation X or a New Mutants, but not the New Mutants. Basically
because they're doing the New Mutants.
Yeah, because they're doing New Mutants in a horror movie.
But they do introduce her to a whole other group of mutant children at the end of Logan, which means that if they wanted to follow up in that regard, they can. It just feels like it would be the same thing. It would be, she ran all this way to get with this group of kids to escape and to be free. And then and now here they are, and they're still all out in the woods and they're trying to be free, but something comes and fucks it up, then it's just the same thing. My first thought is because in 2 days we have the return of one of my most beloved shows from last year, Stranger Things. And the idea of Laura as a character interacting with normal kids in the way that Eleven does in the first season of Stranger Things works for me.
Yeah,
it would be a copy of something that already exists, but Stranger Things owes so many things to other stuff anyways. But it's a very easy thing to do, to have it. It goes back to the Return to Witch Mountain movies that I watched in the 70s. how do you utilize this character? Who do you introduce her to? You can't have her just be running around with a bunch of other mutants because that's the X-Men films. You can't have them running around the woods because that's the end of Logan. You can't put them into a straight-up horror movie because that's what they're doing with New Mutants. So what's the next step? What do you do to utilize her? And she is still young, so you've got to put her in a situation that makes sense for this actress in this version of the character. If they bring the actress back, which I would like to think that they would, but if they decide that they want to age her, and that's the other part, is that in this sense, Logan already takes place in the future of now, whereas the X-Men movies are taking place decades in the past. No idea when New Mutants is taking place. Deadpool don't give a fuck and is about to inherit a time-traveling mutant anyways, so what's it matter? I don't care about the interconnectivity of the X-Men universe because it's such a shithole place to try to make sense of, because the person who's been in charge of the X-Men movies overall doesn't give a fuck about the continuity of the universe. They just keep throwing, like, hey, you just see this character played by one actor in one movie. Here's the character again in this other movie, played by a completely different actor. And it doesn't make any sense at all that he's acting like he does here compared to what he did just here. Who cares? Fuck it. Fuck it all. You know, just.
And I think part of it is, you know, like Beatmaster's pulling a quote here that Hugh Jackman said, "No, I won't be a producer on a Laura sequel, but I will be lining up on the Thursday night at 10 p.m. to watch it, though. She is just phenomenal."
Because Hugh Jackman is stellar, and he knows it's not about him.
No,
he had the opportunity for it to be about him, and he's like, I'm done playing the character. I would like to see the character continue with another actor, much in the way that a James Bond does. I would love to see Laura continue with her stories and arc, and I support the actress. He's an excellent guy, and that is absolutely the right tack to take for him. Although they could easily throw him into the past in some of the other X-Men stuff still, if he chose to back into it. It doesn't really matter. We've seen actors get replaced in movies and Marvel movies and shrugged it off. Not the main characters so far, but very important secondary characters in the case of, say, Terrence Howard becoming Don Cheadle as Rhodey. Wolverine would be harder to replace because so much is hinged on his character and Jackman's portrayal since the beginning of the X-Men films. At some point, we changed Mystique's, and now Mystique is in every goddamn film for no reason. We've changed Magneto's, and he's in every goddamn film for no reason. But we can handle it. It's just, if you think too hard about it, then you just don't get to enjoy the movies for what they are. I just don't really enjoy the movies for what they are.
Yeah.
So it's one more stab at why I'm not enjoying them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I look at this and I go, like, I know that the guys who are doing it, when we've got the creator of the character, who else better to know the character than the one who created this character?
Well, no, absolutely true. Absolutely true. But it's like seeing Stan Lee write a Spider-Man movie.
I'm just expecting to hear Excelsior a lot.
Yeah, that's what I mean, is that Stan Lee created so many of the Marvel Universe heroes with Jack Kirby or other people, Steve Ditko, and wrote and sold millions and millions of comics, and is well deserved to be considered one of the fathers of modern comics. Period. There's no arguing that at all. But Stan Lee writing a Spider-Man movie, probably not going to be the success that Spider-Man has been in any of the incarnations that have come out on the big screen. Because while Stan Lee created the character, his storytelling doesn't match up with what modern audiences want in a film. I'm not saying that Kyle is in that same boat, but I'm just saying that we can't automatically assume that the person who creates something is necessarily the best storyteller to keep going forward with them. Sometimes these characters become more successful when other people pick them up. Wolverine was introduced as a sort of foe to the Hulk and then wound up getting used in the X-Men and became super popular there. And the X-Men themselves became popular under the writing of Chris Claremont versus Stan Lee creating them in the first run. Yeah. So comics have benefited from the amount of various creators that have worked on them over the years. And while I always insist that you have to be true to the character, obviously growth happens because of the changes that are introduced by each different person's take on a Batman or a Superman or a Wonder Woman or whatever. You know, just because the guy who created Wonder Woman is the guy who created Wonder Woman, the stories that were done by George Perez or Gail Simone or Greg Rucka or any other number of creators are the ones that we favorably think of more in relation to who the Wonder Woman is that we think of today.
Well, true. But what I'm getting at is because you don't see a I'm trying to think. I think Kelly Thompson is currently writing all new Wolverine. Actually, I think I have one of my downloads. I could have checked. But and you don't see these people who have written, like New York X and everything that has used Laura. Charles Soule has used her.
Joe Quesada wrote New York X, actually.
Joe Quesada and all. But so you don't see them helping with the treatment. So what I'm saying is, it does, in my opinion, it does make sense that the guy who wrote on Thor Ragnarok wrote.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But just remember, Mark Guggenheim, if I recall correctly, was one of the writers for Green Lantern.
And this morning I took a shit. What's your point?
Sometimes people take a shit. Sometimes people take a shit. The best writers can write bad things. Greg Berlanti is and Jeff Johns was involved. So you can be a really great creator and still make a crap film. So just be aware that. But we're at the beginning of this. We don't even know what the movie's about. We don't even know if the movie's going to be a movie. We have to see. What changed was people's perception of Logan changed when they saw that movie trailer hit, and it had such a different flavor, and it felt like a smart progression of, okay, this is going to be our final Wolverine movie. This looks like this could be a really good final Wolverine movie if that's the story that they choose to tell. But how many times have we gone in thinking, oh, there's going to be this movie about this character that I really dig, and then gone, what the shit were they thinking? You have to be prepared for anything at this point. I know it's dumb. We're pontificating about, oh, there could be a Laura movie. Well, first of all, they're probably not going to call her Laura. That'd be weird. But an X-23 movie or Wolverine Jr. or whatever they're going to call her. Okay.
All new Wolverine.
So what is that going to look like?
Yeah.
What is that going to be? I don't know.
And also, I mean, to point out, because Growly Bear asked, how old will Daphne Keane be? At this point, we don't really know, because she, right now, she is 11 or 12 years old. She's a preteen, becoming a teenager. So it's like, if they get the script out and it goes right now. So I think that's the other part that they are playing into, is what type of story do they want to tell? Do they want to tell like some of the other stories that they've told in the comics where it's, where she's a prostitute? Probably not. But, a lot of it's going to be like they're going to have to take into the account of the girl is aging, the girl is going to get older. So I think that's going to take some part into it as well.
For more on this Galactic Network podcast, go to gncast.com. That's GNCASTS.com.